Hey, how's it going, everyone? It is Drago, and we're back with another chapter of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, Chapter 73, Party on a Moony Night. Now, I am a little bit late on covering this one, but the end was kind of the main point of why I'm going to cover it. So anyway, let's get into this chapter. So the cover page we have for this chapter is a Natsu and Lucy, with a greaser style at a diner. Natsu's slicking the hair back. Well, as I'm saying this about the style, it's literally the caption is just Natsu and Lucy rocking the punk style. So, that's the style or whatever. I do like this one. The little open sign in the corner is the Fairy Tail Guild logo. Is this one of the first times as well we've seen Lucy with lipstick as well? Because it's different. I kind of wish we would have got more of the guild members with this one, to see what they would have looked like in this the greaser style here, but we didn't. And also, the fact that it's Natsu and Lucy on the cover is kind of a hint towards what happens at the end. So our last chapter, everyone was defeated. Silently asked for them to be brought to her. And that was where we left off in 2020. So for the first chapter of 2021, we pick up at the Black Moon Mountain, and quite literally this little temple thing is on the very tippy top of this mountain. And you get Silene taking a bath, and I guess she really likes to take baths because she says she takes it 3 times a day. But since she kind of looks like Lucy, so if you really wanted to see her naked again, you can see it through Silene, because you get quite a few shots of her. Now, like I said, she takes a bath 3 times a day because she's walking up to, she's putting her clothes on and walking up to Natsu and Gray, which they're tied up. It looks like it's just regular string, so why couldn't Natsu burn it? And Natsu and Gray, they're yelling at her untie us, and Gray, instead of saying untie us, he's doesn't bathing in front of dudes make you a pervert? I like the little face that Gray's making here too. And you can kind of tell Silene is more on the dragon side of things, because she's dragons don't have habits of not bathing in front of people or whatever, but she's oh, well, I suppose if I'm in this human form, I probably do have to adapt to it. So different little mindset there. So then Natsu and Gray, they're where are we, what do you want out of us? And Silene starts explaining what this Black Moon Mountain is, and why she picked it, because the moon never waxes or wanes. It just stays the full moon, I guess, all the time. And but she said that's not what she's entirely after right now. She's after entertainment. And her quote is, "I don't want to eat humans or take over the world. I simply wish to have a drink and party watching the elegant moon." And I kind of love Natsu, because she's she seemed okay to this point. I just picked this place because it had a pretty moon, and I just want to have a drink and party or whatever. So Natsu just kind of looks at her and are you a good guy? Are you sure you're a bad guy? Are you good? She gets the crazy eyes and she goes full mental, and she is quite frankly insane. As long as I enjoy myself, what does it matter if a world or two gets sullied or destroyed, is her quote. So I like that immediately. Natsu's oh, yep, you're a bad guy. You a bad guy. Who's in Wreck-It Ralph. And then she explains she's what causes magic power to overflow, more than it already has in the world that they are. And she just wanted to see what would happen just for funsies. And then Gray was oh, we were told the world would explode if you get too much magic power, and without the White Priestess, it would boom, that's what's been told. So Silene never answers his question, but she's oh, but before that, I want to play with you all at the Black Moon Mountain. And she does the kind of clap that clap clap, and now it's time to feast. So then the hall like just fills with all these girls in kimonos, and they all got food and they're all eating, and Natsu and Gray are still tied up in the center. So they're like singing and dancing, and some of the girls are interacting and saying stuff about Natsu and Gray, aka touching them and commenting on their appearances and stuff. I like the shot of Yuko. She's just like sitting at a table eating, and she's just got this like the kind of like cat face. I don't know what you call it. So Gray is like, oh my goodness, these chicks are freaking crazy, man. They are next level crazy. And then you get Silene drinking, like doing a toast, and be like, drinking with captive men really lightens up the party. It's so delightful. And then she like raises her cup and she's like, come on, sing and dance, everyone. It's a party. Get crazy. People like singing, dancing, more people touching Gray. Yuko is drawing Natsu, presumably. I mean, it doesn't show the lower half, but it shows her drawing him with all of his muscles and stuff. More of Silene's group partying and stuff. One looks like she's like naked. Final shot here, you get Silene, then she's like, now then, it's time. She immediately looks over to Yuko, and she's like, Yuko, do you have the preparations ready? She has like a little salute, and she says that the preparations are complete. And then this is what the next panel, and this is the quote from Silene: from the heaven of women's bodies to the hell of the she-demon. And then it's like this giant moon thing appears, the same magic she did in earlier chapters to transport everyone, like this teleportation magic or whatever. She does this giant moon thing, and it separates Gray and Natsu, and they're both in like separate caves. And like Natsu was like, where's Gray? Where the flip am I? And Silene, again, she must have some telepathy magic, because she's like, oh yeah, you're in the bottom layer of the Black Moon Mountain, a place where the yokai of the rivers and mountains dwell. And she calls it, and if I butchered this, I'm sorry, Onigatsuki, which is Moon of Demons, is what it means, I guess. A mythological island of demons. So she teleported Gray and Natsu to different spots, and she's like, I wonder if you guys can fight your way back up here. And she has it like on a giant orb thing, like it's a freaking TV. Like, this is the sport of the century. We gotta watch Gray and Natsu fight to the death and fight their way back up here. They're doing the Hunger Games, baby. Natsu's all for it. He's like cracking his knuckles, and he's like, let's do it. Let's time to pound some fools. Like, it doesn't matter if it's yokai or demons. I'm all fired up. You get this weird yokai flying on a kite or a glider thing, and he immediately punches that thing down with a fire dragon's iron fist. And you can tell Natsu's all pumped up. He's got the fire going. He's slapping people around left and right. And then you see this like tentacle thing coming behind him, and then he finally notices, and it's gonna go like swipe down on him. And then Natsu says there's someone with different magic power from before. And then this tentacle, it's actually a tail, wraps around Natsu. And you see the chest of this person and that kind of weird smile. And then you cut to the final page of the chapter, revealing it was Lucy that's been turned into this snake yokai demon thing. So presumably, I mean, we don't see like half of her body's covered by Natsu, but like we don't see her full body. Presumably her front is completely naked, in that so probably the top half of her is actually Lucy, but then the lower half is this snake demon thing. Natsu just looks at her like, oh my goodness, Lucy, what have they done to you? Like, he is actually genuinely in shock. And I like, going forward after this, I don't know how he's gonna fight her, because she's clearly trolled here. I'll get to what it says at this last little thing, but so yeah, you see Natsu freaking out, and Silene, her final thing is, your former friend has become a yokai. So presumably whatever magic or spiritual art that they have turned Lucy into this monster that they can control. She calls it a newer Oni. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Which the translation is, Wet Woman is a man-eating sea serpent from Japanese folklore, the head or upper body of a woman. And that is the end of the chapter. So going on the thoughts and stuff, I quite think it's crazy that they turned Lucy into a monster. Now, presumably, since Kray and Natsu are fighting, they didn't show Urza or Wendy, so presumably what happened with Lucy is what happened with Wendy and Urza. It's presumably, and that's actually presumably if it's actually Lucy. It could, Silene kind of looks like Lucy, so what's to say it's like a clone of Silene, but she just made it look like Lucy. I kind of think it actually is Lucy, and that she also tampered with Urza and Wendy as well because of what she was saying, the yokai. The ending is quite shocking, actually, that Lucy's a monster now, and Natsu has to fight her. And Natsu's not gonna hit Lucy because he's like, she's his friend. He genuinely cares about Lucy, but I imagine the beginning of the fight is her gonna go at him at full force, not caring if she kills him or not. But he's gonna hold back, but eventually at some point he might have to be like, okay, fine, I have to restrain you, Lucy, I have to bring you down to save you, but I'm sorry. If Yuko gets defeated, will Lucy revert back to normal, or what are the consequences after this? I have no idea. I can definitely say Lucy and presumably Urza and Wendy are not going to stay monsters forever. They are some of the mains of the guild. They are probably going to be turned back in some way, some form, somehow. It is kind of interesting that Silene's whole guild or whatever, they are just all about partying, and they're almost doing Hunger Games-esque stuff with, just send them in a cave and have them fight to the death. If they make it up here, we'll clap for them. The party Silene stuff I just haven't found was interesting, but the end of the chapter was really what made it for me. So yeah, comment what you guys' thoughts are down below, and this is Drago signing out. And happy 2021, everyone.